You know, just about every day I have a moment where I think, oh, things are terrible. This government's been shut down for like a month. The Republicans are trying to force Congress to choose between health care and food to open it up. We've got a bunch of ghouls running the country. Prices are high. People are suffering.
The moment began like any other tense night in modern political theater. But it took only 13 seconds for the entire country to witness a collapse so unexpected that it instantly went viral. During a live presidential town hall, moderated by a surprisingly serious Jimmy Kimmel, Donald Trump grew visibly irritated as Kimmel fact-checked several of his claims about leadership and constitutional power. Trump tried brushing off the corrections with forced confidence, turning to the audience and declaring himself a very stable genius.
Trust me, I'm like a smart person.
Repeating familiar lines about his brilliance while insisting Kimmel only pretended to be smart. The room shifted uneasily as Trump, feeling cornered, resorted to bragging about his intelligence in the way he often does when pressured. Then, in a burst of frustration and bravado, he demanded an IQ test on the spot.
Take a look at this guy, his rating. That's what got Jimmy Kimmel out. He was terrible.
Live, on stage, right then and there. He insisted they bring out the best doctors, certain that the shock value of the challenge would flip the narrative and put him back in control. The audience gasped, unsure if they were watching politics or reality TV. Trump stood tall with a smug grin, convinced he'd trapped the host in a spectacle he believed he could dominate.
Now, I can read the polls maybe better than anybody because it seems that I understood the polls a lot better than many of the pollsters understood the polls.
But Kimmel didn't panic. Instead, he gave Trump a calm, collected nod, agreeing that cognitive ability was indeed important for anyone seeking the presidency.
Well, moments after we taped our show last night, the Mad Red Hatter wrote, "I can't believe ABC Fake News gave Jimmy Kimmel his job back." You can't believe they gave me my job back. I can't believe we gave you your job back.
Then, without raising his voice or changing his expression, he reached under his moderator's desk and pulled out a single sheet of paper. He walked across the stage slowly, deliberately, and handed it to a confused Trump, explaining that before any official test, they could start with something much simpler, a basic reading comprehension test consisting of just one short paragraph. Trump stared at the page as if it were written in another language. The camera zoomed in, catching every twitch and hesitation. He finally began to read aloud, but from the first sentence, it was obvious he was lost.
Obviously, you're concerned.
It was the First Amendment of the United States Constitution, and Trump stumbled through it painfully, mispronouncing words, pausing every few seconds, starting and stopping as if unsure where he was in the sentence.
First, effective immediately, the FDA will be notifying physicians that the use of well, let's see how we say that. Acetaminophen. Is that okay?
The phrase, peaceably to assemble, slowed him down so much that the audience collectively leaned forward, holding their breath, watching the self-proclaimed genius struggle with one of the nation's most fundamental passages. Kimmel didn't interrupt and didn't smirk.
There are many people that disagree, and that's the risk of giving your opinion, because typically talk show hosts don't give their opinions, but times have changed drastically. And, you want to talk about what's happening in the news that day, and sometimes things touch you personally.
Trump pushed through the awkwardness, trying to laugh it off, muttering half-formed excuses under his breath, even tossing in an insult about Kimmel's intelligence, as if that could erase what everyone had just seen. When he finished, he tried to pivot back into bravado, dragging Kimmel's wife into a jab and prompting Kimmel to deadpan.
I talk about Trump more than anything because he's a bully. I don't like bullies.
Should I be worried he mentions my wife more than his own this year? The audience laughed, but Trump's face tightened. His attempted power move had backfired spectacularly. What he expected to be a triumphant display of dominance had instead revealed a weakness he never imagined would be exposed.
How was the golf tournament?
Very good, because I won. It's good to win. You heard I won.
The clip of those 13 seconds, the moment he froze, the moment he squinted at a paragraph every school kid knows by heart, became the highlight of the night. It spread across social media instantly. looping endlessly with captions, calling it the fastest cell phone in political history. Commentators replayed it, comedians remixed it, and viewers everywhere reacted with the same stunned disbelief. The entire spectacle became a perfect example of how overconfidence, when mixed with insecurity and showmanship, can unravel in real time. Trump had demanded an IQ test, expecting to embarrass the host, but instead found himself undone by the most basic words of the Constitution he claimed to defend. In the high-stakes world of political theater, where perception can shift in a single breath, this was the kind of moment that defines itself instantly, a perfect storm of ego, pressure, and reality colliding on live television. And in that single moment, the stable genius became the punchline of the test he himself demanded, leaving the nation watching in shock as the stunt meant to prove his brilliance became the clearest demonstration of his limits.